Dude, 30 is honestly whatever. Like, that does not matter even a little bit, you know? I would not sweat that for 2 seconds. These things used to scare the crap out of me. And then when I had this awakening moment in 2020, which I've told you about at length and I tell everybody about because lots of people ask me like, dude, what happened to you? Well, this thing happened in 2020 and now I'm a new person. I don't know. It's weird, but when I had that happen, one thing I realized was like, oh, you just come back. And like everybody has to experience that for themselves. You can't just like take that on faith. I mean, the Hindus do and the Buddhists do. They both have reincarnation. The Bible did. The esoteric forms of the Bible before the Roman Catholic Church edited it out actually says that reincarnation, we just come back. It's samsara is the cycle of birth and death, and it never ends unless you decide to raise your awareness out of that cycle, which is the path of the Buddha, the path of Buddhism or Hinduism. In Buddhism, it's called nirvana. In Hinduism, it's called moksha. And both just mean enlightenment, which is this idea of like becoming truly aware of the full and complete self so that you do not need to continue to incarnate to learn the lessons that eventually get you into the place where you arrive there anyways. So if any of that's true, and in my experience, that's what's happening, it just like it totally freed me. It released me completely from ever caring about age ever again. You know, the Buddha says that this one will rack your brain. Okay, this one freaks. This one's an ego annihilator. This one right here. Okay, there is this idea in Buddhism. The Buddha said this: imagine a mountain 6 miles high and 6 miles wide. Every 100 years, a stork, like a crane. Yeah, stork. I think that's a crane. We'll say a crane. I think that's the same thing, but I don't know the bird. I don't know. A crane flies over the mountain and drops a silk scarf every 100 years. He said the total amount of years it's going to take that crane to erode that mountain with that scarf is the amount of times you have incarnated. The ocean of samsara is vast. We've been doing this forever. Eternity doesn't even describe how long we have been here playing this game, dancing this dance, pretending to be these egos, having these experiences, being musicians, being not musicians, traveling, not traveling, like it's like, wow, 30 means nothing. Like 30 means, and you can conceptualize this without even stepping into the realm that I just took us. You can just look at this thing that you and I talked about even back when we were eating apples in the parking lot of the Scotiabank Center after watching Interstellar, which is the idea of like, if you take the Earth and then you just start to do the zoom, and you know this one, the Earth, and then look at the sun, and then look at the the galaxy, and then look at and you can just keep going like the supercluster, and then supercluster, universe, universal, whatever. You like, it just keeps, it's like 30 means nothing. 7 billion people on this planet that is a microspeck. 7 billion people on a planet that is a grain of sand in comparison to the galaxy. And that galaxy is a grain of sand in comparison to that universe. 30 means nothing. So it's just like, that can either turn into absolute nihilism. What is the point of anything? I am but a microspeck inside of a microspeck. That can turn into complete nihilism. Or it can just be like the most freeing news you've heard all day. Because it's like, well, if it means so little, then let's just have fun. Let's just have fun with it, man. If it means that little, why do I think my problems matter? Like, your problems are dust to the dust that makes up the dust. It's just like layers of like grains. Your problems are tiny grains of sand inside of grains of sand. And then it's like, oh, so yeah, let's just get back to having fun, creating, enjoying. I don't know. That's where I'm standing on the age thing. Like I don't even, it can't even touch me anymore. But it used to, holy shit. Like when I used to be like really identified with myself and so focused on like, if I don't create something special, I am a failure, you know, like the trauma and where I was like very like this, like I have to do something special in my life. Otherwise, this grain of sand is a fucking failure of a grain of sand. And you saw it. You saw the way that manifested in my life, like how hard I worked, you know, and I still grind like an animal, but like now it's just out of love and devotion and like trying to enjoy, you know, like if I grind hard now, like it's just the highs and lows, just enjoying it. But back then it was out of fear. Like if I didn't grind hard to create something of myself back then, it was like, oh my God, the clock's ticking. I'm 25. Holy fuck, what am I going to do? I'm already 25. And Ask Alexandria had made it by the time they were 17. So I'm a loser, you know? Like what? Where the heck was I, bro? Yeah, we fall into stuff, you know? We get caught up in these ideas sometimes. But yeah, that's where I was at with the trauma and with the whatever and the beliefs. So yeah, I don't sweat it, you know? There's this guy I met in Slovenia, really wise guy. He traveled the world full time for 10 years. He completed a 90-day Vipassana, which means you sit in silence. You don't speak to a single person. You don't make eye contact to a single person for 90 days. And yeah, amazing guy. Anyways, why am I telling you his credentials? What does that matter? But yeah, really cool guy. And he says, and he's got the Slovenian accent, so I do the impression. It's like, Wyatt, you have to understand. I like what this one American guy said to me. He says, life is an experiment. And when you do an experiment, you can't go wrong because you have never done it before. You don't know what's going to happen. You have never lived this life before. So you can't go wrong.